Marcus was a businessman who loved money more than anything else in the world. Every single morning, he woke up thinking about money and his investments. Every night, he went to sleep counting his coins and calculating his wealth. He had a big house with many rooms, expensive luxury cars in his garage, and rooms full of valuable things he had collected over the years. But despite all his possessions, Marcus was never happy or satisfied. He always wanted more and more. Marcus had no friends because he never wanted to spend money on anyone but himself. When people invited him to dinner at restaurants, he always said no because he didn't want to pay. When his neighbors needed help or asked to borrow something, he closed his door and pretended he wasn't home. He thought friends were a waste of time and money. His only love was his wealth, and he spent all his time thinking about how to make more. One day, Marcus went to an art auction and bought a beautiful painting for a lot of money. It was very expensive and very rare, created by a famous artist. He brought it home and hung it on his wall in the best room and smiled with satisfaction. Now his house was worth even more money than before. He sat down in his comfortable leather chair and looked at all his treasures with pride. He felt very proud of himself and his collection. Marcus kept all his money and valuable things locked inside his house in special rooms. He didn't trust banks with his fortune. He didn't trust anyone in the world. Every evening after work, he walked slowly through his rooms and touched his treasures with his hands. The gold coins, the sparkling jewels, the expensive paintings, everything made him feel safe and powerful and important. This was his kingdom, and he was the king of everything he owned. One quiet night, Marcus was sleeping peacefully in his bed when a strange smell woke him up suddenly. It was smoke filling the air. He opened his eyes with confusion and saw orange light glowing under his bedroom door. His house was on fire. Marcus jumped out of bed quickly, his body shaking. His heart was beating fast with fear. He was very scared and didn't know what to do. Marcus ran through the burning house trying desperately to save his treasures. He grabbed gold coins with his bare hands, but they were too hot and burned his fingers. He tried to carry heavy paintings off the walls, but the thick smoke made him cough and choke. The fire was growing bigger and bigger with every passing second. The heat was terrible and hurt his skin. He wanted to save everything he owned, but he couldn't carry it all. Finally, when the flames came too close, he had to run outside with nothing in his hands. Marcus stood outside in the cold night air, shivering, and watched his beautiful house burn to the ground. All his money, all his precious treasures, all his valuable things that he had spent years collecting, everything was burning in the flames. The fire was so big and bright that it lit up the whole street. Firefighters came with their trucks and tried to help, but it was too late to save anything. Marcus had lost everything he owned. He fell to his knees on the ground and cried like a child. The next morning, when the sun came up, Marcus had nothing left at all. No house, no money, no treasures or possessions. He sat on the cold ground in his pajamas, looking at the black ruins and ashes of his former home. Then his neighbor, an old woman he had always ignored, came over with a warm blanket and hot tea for him. Another neighbor brought him fresh food and offered him a place to stay. People he had ignored and been rude to for years were helping him now with kindness. Marcus started to cry again, but this time, they were different tears, tears of gratitude and shame. Marcus learned an important lesson that terrible day that changed his life forever. Money and material things can disappear in a single moment, lost to fire or disaster. But kindness, friendship, and love, these are the real treasures in life. They cannot burn in a fire. They cannot be lost or stolen. Marcus started his life again from nothing, but this time he lived very differently than before. He made real friends and spent time with them. He helped people who needed assistance. And finally, for the first time in his life, Marcus was truly happy and at peace.